welcome back to another This Week in Prophecy, Season 4, Episode 19. Thanks for joining us, or, welcome for the first time. Today is Thursday, July 9th, 2026. And if you're new here, we just want to go over what we mean when we say prophecy. So prophecy isn't just about predicting the future. In Scripture, prophecy is God speaking by His Spirit to His people so that they can be built up, that they can receive guidance, they can be brought back to truth, or even strengthened into obedience. So sometimes prophecy comes as encouragement, other times it comes as loving correction, because God is always good. That doesn't mean He's always comfortable by our standards. So on this podcast, we take prophecy seriously and responsibly. We weigh it against the Bible, we look for the fruit, and we refuse to fall into any of the hype. So today I'm just going to have a conversation with my friend Aaron, who receives prophetic dreams, visions, words in many different ways, and we'll unpack what he saw, what it could potentially mean, and how we as believers can respond without any fear. So thanks for joining us. We got the black memo today.
Is that right?
Yeah, I guess. Especially on the hottest day of the week. It was 110.
Oh, well, I just put it on before I got in here.
Hide the sweat,
Right.
Awesome. Well, I'll jump right into it. We've got a dream to cover, and then we're going to kind of talk about some things that have been evolving in Spain and in New York, and kind of piggyback on some other dreams that we've shared previously. So,
yeah, there's a lot going on right now.
Sure is. It seems like it's ramping up. Do you agree?
100%. And I think that this dream says that.
Okay, perfect. Well, let's jump right into it. So this was 5th of April, 2026, just a couple of months ago this year. And you started seeing visions, and it was like they were blurred together, and then you kind of jumped to another scene, and this was you woke up and then went back to sleep and kind of had another dream. So why don't you walk me through it first?
All right, so the first one, I started seeing visions, and there was so many, and they went by so fast that it was all blurred together. Like when you see a time-lapse photo of a freeway and all the cars are driving. The lights just blur together like one long light as it travels across the road. But I knew that each individual vision was about just everything. I could see each individual vision. I'll just read it and then so I could see each individual vision, even though they're all blurred together. One, like for instance, one was about a woman named Crystal. Not anybody that I know. It was just I knew her name was Crystal. If I focused on that vision, I could see everything about her. It's like being in a room full of people and knowing everything about their pain, suffering, and hurt all at once. And so let me explain this then. Do you remember the dream where it's a river of colors?
Yeah.
It's like that. Or, so it was like that. But it was like I'm standing looking at it, and it's going by so fast, just like the speed of light, you could say, and it's going by so fast, but yet if I wanted to, I could focus at one vision and everything would stop, and I could see. So like I did that, and I saw this woman, and she was wearing like office clothes, like a pantsuit, I guess is what it's called.
Right.
And she was in her office, and she was talking to people, and she, I knew everything about her instantly. I knew her pain. I knew how she was feeling. I knew that she drank a lot, and it didn't help her. Like she drank because of the pain. Whatever it was, she had a hole in her heart, and something was missing. And it was weird. Like the whole stream together was flowing by so fast, but I knew everything that was in that stream as it flowed. And since these are two dreams, we'll just talk about the first one. Yeah, you asked if it's getting more intense. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I had, like right off the bat, one of the notes is like when you see so many cars going by, or equating it to a freeway, and you see all of these different things happen, does the idea of the magnitude of so many people kind of experiencing different things and feeling different ways, does that kind of play into kind of the saying of like everybody's got something that they're going through, there's a lot of issues that are going on simultaneously, or how did you kind of read that?
Like there's way more lost than are saved kind of thing.
Gotcha.
And it's not me saving people, it's not me, I don't know, preaching the gospel and all these people are getting saved. It's people taking the time to speak to somebody. People taking the time to know somebody, being the example to people. That's what's changing them. That's what's saving them. It's not this blanket, watch my Sunday morning preachings and you'll be okay. It's actually taking the time to understand what's wrong with why people feel hurt, why there's a hole in their heart. I mean, that it's Jesus that's missing, but actually taking the time to listen to the people. And it's that there's so many, and it goes, like I said, it's going by so fast. But if I would stop and focus on one person, I could understand. And it was that easy. So it's, like I said, visions. I had talked about a dream a while ago where I walked in front of a bus stop and this man knew everything about me. It was that. And he knew exactly what to pray for. Like, as soon as I looked at him, he just looked at me in the eye and was like, okay, I'm going to pray for, a bad relationship with your mom and this and that. And then it was like, that was exactly what I needed. It wasn't, years of training, I can't explain it.
Yeah.
And it just happened like that. Like all of a sudden I saw this, and it was weird too, because I saw like the road. When I say I knew everything, I knew what the road, how she drove to work. Like I could see the actual path she drove to work in the mornings. And, I was amazing. Like this is, as I'm like, it was so detailed, right? I saw as if I was looking through her eyes that she's driving to work in the morning, and it was instantaneous. I knew everything.
So like instant level of discernment.
Just like that. Like I looked at her and knew, and it reminded me of that thing I sent you, where the man was not saved, or not a believer for sure, and he died of a drug overdose. And when whatever dragged him through this this place where people were waiting to be judged, he looked at everybody and knew everything about them. Wow. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I sent you. It was very interesting.
Yeah.
But it was like that. But I had to stop and focus on somebody to understand it. If not, they just.
Did you just know what they were going through, or was there any sort of like feeling, like the atmosphere changed when you focused in on Crystal? And if like she was hurting, did you feel that hurt, or did you just know?
I did feel it. Okay. I did feel it, and I want to share something with you. There was a dream, and I think we talked about it too as well. I was watching this man, and I was watching his life, and I was standing watching him, and he woke up, and everything was dark and miserable. But yet he's like, well, I'm just going to get up and go. This is life. It's going to be miserable, and then I'll die.
Kind of like expecting it to just be that
always
way, not
be
change.
Miserable. Yeah. Nothing changed. But yeah, he got up, he got ready, he went to a birthday party, and the whole time this darkness was around him. His house, even though it was daytime and the windows are open and there's light would come through, it was still dark. Wow. And I was feeling his sadness. Like I felt sad because I knew what he was feeling. It was the same thing. I felt that she wanted to not feel this sadness, and so she drank.
Right.
Thinking it would numb her. Yeah, like it was numbing. It was, I think about it like this. Jesus, when you are filled with the Holy Spirit, when you find Jesus, you have this joy in you, and it doesn't mean that you're not, you don't get angry or whatever, but the joy like overpowers. You will be sad, and some days you will be angry, you will, whatever, but that joy will still break through. So that's like a constant when you're, walking with Jesus. When you're not, the enemy, like people take drugs and alcohol, and it's only temporary. Right. That joy is constant, but the drugs, the alcohol is a temporary thing, and the next day you're hungover and you regret what you did. But it doesn't, for that time, you're out with your friends, you may be having a good time, you're laughing, you have a good time, but it's not real. It's
Right.
temporary. It's only to mask the pain. It's only and I felt that with her. She drank a lot because this hole in her heart, she didn't know what it was. Like maybe nobody's ever really spoken to her about the joy that people feel. Like however it is, and that's what I felt about her. But it was just like millions of people running and flashing in front of my face at once, and I'm like, "What's this one?" And then I just like, okay,
and you randomly picked out this person,
Yeah,
Crystal, and
I
you
just-
still did not know who Crystal was.
no, I didn't know her. She wasn't. I didn't recognize her. She was like a short white woman with curly hair. She had like shoulder length curly hair. I've never seen her before. She was wearing like a gray, pantsuit. I would say like she was dressed like Hillary Clinton. You know what I mean?
Like going into some office job, essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like she worked
Yeah.
in an office, like just like the office, just like that. So, but it was like you say, things are ramping up. Like I feel like, hey, be prepared for the way he pours out on us is going to intensify.
Yeah.
Right. And so, we talked before in the beginning, my dreams were like boats and things very easy for me to understand.
Yeah.
Right. Because,
Yeah.
and that's the way he speak to me, almost like I'm a baby. Like, okay, at your work, he showed me a dream where like these boxes were on the table, and I went and then I came back and then there was 4 boxes. There was 2 in the beginning, and then there was 4.
Right.
And I went and came back and then there was 8, and it was like, well, what are you showing me? And then I'm showing my wife like, hey, you gotta come see what Jesus did. That's what I said to her in the dream. And we came back and then there was 16, and it's like he's showing me like, look, I'm going to put 2 people in front of you. You're gonna show them me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to show them myself through you, whatever, however it works, and then you'll see how these people multiply other people, and it takes time, and you got to be patient with it. But that's what he was showing me. But it was now the complexity of them are getting way more intense. Like we'll talk about it later, like the Spain thing and how it's playing out. And
Yeah.
I knew some things, and we can talk about it. But so let's go on to the second one.
Yeah, and just to give context, you
sorry.
had that dream, and then you said you woke up, and then you went back to sleep, and this is when you got the second part,
Right.
or kind of a different dream, right?
So I woke up and I was like laying in bed, and it just was overwhelming to me.
Yeah.
Because I still felt this way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm still feeling like that lady. It was the strangest thing. Like I was in her brain watching her live her life, but then also looking down from a third person
So you had
view.
like context and a 30,000-foot view, but then you also had like the actual first person point of view where it's like you were seeing what she was seeing.
It was at the same time though.
That's crazy.
So imagine
it's hard to comprehend.
it's hard to comprehend,
Yeah,
right? Because God is, these are the mysteries of God. We think this is going to happen when we die, or this is the way it is, but yet He's showing me He is way more complex than we even can comprehend. So imagine you driving, like this is how I saw it. I'm watching her drive, and it was weird. It was like an incline, and I'm thinking it's California, maybe between LA and like Central California, like where there's these trees all along the road, and it just actually what it reminded me of is when the guy was driving to work in Office Space. Remember how it was?
Yeah.
It was like that.
Yeah.
She was driving on an incline to where she worked, and as she's driving, I'm seeing what she's seeing through her eyes, but I'm also seeing her, like right here. I'm also watching her from this way, but I'm also seeing. It was amazing.
Fascinating.
That was the most intense, and he's really trying to tell me like, stop. Just what you think it's supposed to be. I'm going to show you way better.
Yeah.
And easier to understand. And I have I don't get these personal words for people all the time. And like, somebody says prophesy, like God didn't say nothing. You know what I mean? Like,
it's not something you can just whip out when you want to.
I think it's going to change because I didn't just do it from my flesh. I actually said no.
Yeah.
It's not happening right now. And so with that obedience of saying no, when he said don't, there was a time where somebody gave me a microphone and said, not prophesize people. And right before that, God's like, it's not about you. Don't say nothing. Knowing later, it was more about him.
Yeah.
And so I said no. And all these people are looking at me like,
what? You don't have anything to say?
I thought you were the prophet. Like, I'm not that. And don't call me,
Yeah.
And so.
Don't put that on me.
Yeah. And so from taking this time to not run ahead of him, but yet let him lead me. I think what we're seeing right now in the church, right? Bethel and all these things happening. Those people ran ahead of God because it wasn't enough. They couldn't perform in these big open media platforms and on stages and stuff. So they decided I'm going to add onto it. But because God is like, I'm not talking to you. What are you doing?
Yeah.
And so like for myself, when that time came up and he said, no, don't do it. And in front of everybody looking at me, I said, no, I'm not going to. This was that kind of obedience. Now I'm going to show you something amazing.
Yeah. And I mean, to your credit, not to pump you up, but like it's one thing to hear from the Lord and act upon that. That's hard in itself. It's another thing to be like put on the spot and then the Lord be like, keep your mouth shut.
Yeah.
And you actually do it, because I would imagine that's pretty humbling. You got all these people who have all this expectation and you're just like, hey, I've got nothing right now.
Yeah.
Like that's humbling in itself. I think a lot of people talk about, when the Lord nudges you, you need to act, but they never talk about, hey, don't go beyond what he's telling you to do. Don't try to ad lib and fill in and add your own fluff.
That's the point exactly.
That is really, really, that takes discipline.
That's not of him.
That is not of him.
And
you're right.
In the Bible, we see where these prophets were telling the king what they wanted to hear,
right,
instead of what was truth,
right,
and the king's being angry and throwing Jeremiah in the pit because all the other people were like, oh, no, we're going to be fine. There's peace.
Yeah.
Peace is, and Jeremiah saying, no, God's telling you to wake up, and them throwing him. So that is the obedience that he had to say, I will only do what you say. And that's, again, we've seen these people run so far. I believe that people don't, I'm sure there's instances, but most people don't start out with a heart to fool the people.
I completely agree.
They went so far ahead of him that he stopped talking to them.
Would you say that kind of like stepping in front is driven somewhat, if not entirely, by pride?
Pride, I'm the man. Yeah, pride, I'm the man. Also, the need to perform.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand. Like, yes, it's good to go places and talk to people, help them see, the power of God. Kim Clement was, he went all over.
Yeah.
But God spoke to him in those before that, like what he was really, most of the time, I know there was some times when he spoke to him right there, but he was reading what God already spoke to him.
Right.
Right. And so this need to always have the new word right there in the stage.
On command. Yeah.
Is right.
God's not trained to be like, okay, God, tell me. And he speaks immediately.
You're testing God.
Yeah. God's not going to listen. God's not going to listen to you. You're going to listen to God.
You're testing him. So I think people then also start to not hear the proper voice. Instead of God, it's themselves and their flesh. And they're like, okay, what do I need to tell this person? Instead of God saying, I want you to tell this person, they're saying, what do I need to tell this person? That's when the flesh takes over.
Yeah. God told me this. God, did he really? Did he really? That's where it gets so convoluted and people get hurt.
Yeah.
And people get, there's confusion and there's a lot of it's just, there's nothing good that comes from that.
That's the thing, right? Is that you have to let him lead you, not say, come along here, right? Like I said,
Yeah, 100%.
instead
That's
of
so
saying,
dangerous.
instead of saying, this person, what do I tell them? Wait for him to say something to you. That's it. That's the thing. You're pulling God.
Yeah.
So in the
You're
Bible,
telling me the creator of the universe is going to work on my schedule? Like, come on.
So
who are you?
They put the ark on a cart, right?
Yeah.
And they pulled the cart, and the cart fell off. Then they had to carry.
Yeah.
Right. He had to lead them.
Yeah.
And so these are the things that just it gets tough. But
absolutely. Let's do your second part of that dream, which had to do with an amusement park, right?
Right.
Perfect.
So me, my wife, and my son, and he looked young at the time. So this must have been a while ago, or he was showing me something in the past, kind of.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure, but I don't know why he was young. That's what I just, and a lot, like I say, when this is what I think he's saying to me, that's what I think. And it doesn't, later it may turn out to be something totally different, but I'm just going to read the dream. Me and my wife and my son, he looked 12. We went to an amusement park. Each ride was on a hill higher than the other. So you're constantly walking uphill to each ride. Then I was standing in line to use the restroom, but it was the restroom was open. Okay. There was no there was a bunch of toilets and stalls, but there was urinals, but there was no stalls between them. It was just open. And both men and women were in the bathroom using it. There was no personal space. I was standing off to the left looking at my phone, and I was waiting. And this woman came up to me, and she had a big smile on her face. And she said, "You're a spy." And then she said, "Your son must be so proud of you that I was." And I was thinking, what did you say? She said, "That's so cool. He must think it's so cool that, his dad is a spy." And I walked away thinking, like, what are you talking about? So...
That's so random. So in this area where there's no privacy, you're trying to use the restroom.
Yeah.
And she goes, "You're a spy." Did you ever? There was no like context or completion to like why she was telling you were a spy. You woke up being like, "Why is she telling me I'm a spy?"
No, in the dream, I walked away thinking why she was telling me I was a spy. Like as I'm walking away from her in the dream, I'm thinking, why were you saying that to me? What do you mean? So.
Yeah. So why spy?
Well, look at the things he has shown me.
Right.
Definitely, sometimes a lot more, sometimes a year, sometimes a few months prior to them taking place. And again, we'll talk about that after. But in the bathroom, right? Well, let's talk about the top. First, you have each ride is up. You got to walk up a hill. And it was like pretty steep.
Sounds like Magic Mountain.
Yeah, well, you're right. It was very steep.
Yeah.
So as we're walking up this, and it's very steep, but when you get to the ride, it's like, okay, now you can rest, have fun, then you got to climb again, right? And this is definitely that walk that we were just talking about, where obeying, listening, it's not easy. But when you get there to this certain level, it's like, and the rides got better as like the first one was a merry-go-round, and then the second one was the swings, and then the what do you call it, the Buccaneer, the Buccaneer ship or whatever.
They're so cool.
And then the roller coaster, you know what I mean?
So they got progressively more intense as you got higher.
Right, and as you get up there, it was rest and fun. And then, all right, I'm walking up the next hill.
Right.
And I can say definitely this is my walk. This has been my walk because, I said, I will surrender to you. Whatever you want to do. And so he's like, okay, good. Let's go this way. And it's been uphill, right, ever since. So, when this first started happening, I'm telling other Christians and they're just not believing me, or no, I know what that means. And here it is, and so I struggled. Right? It was a struggle, an uphill struggle. But then I would get to a certain place, it would plateau and like, okay, let's get on this ride. And it was like, here's something new. Here's,
Right.
now you're gonna see if somebody's light or they're dark, even though they say they're light.
Right.
But now, okay, so then another uphill. Now I'm struggling with this because I'm seeing people that I thought, oh, these are Christians, but yet this dark smoke comes off them when they're in this mindset, right?
Right,
And then,
right.
okay, so let's go to the next one. And then it's like, I'm telling this man, hey, God showed me this. No, you're a blasphemer. Okay, so then let's go uphill to the next one, And yeah, it's been an uphill struggle, but every time you get to that point, there's like a payoff,
Right.
So that's the beginning. The second part, like going into a bathroom with no stalls, right? And it's both men and women using it. And so it's like an area of vulnerability.
It's exactly was one of my questions. I was like, what's being vulnerable? Anyway, keep going.
No,
Sorry.
No, right.
Yeah.
So
That's crazy.
Like I wanted to use the restroom, but I didn't finish. I just went off to the side and got on my phone because I'm seeing this vulnerability.
Right, for sure.
So it's an area of vulnerability, and people are going in and out, and they're just using. But me, I'm like, what is this? There's no privacy.
Yeah.
There's no, I don't want to be in front of this woman going to the restroom, so like, all right. So I go out to the side. So that's this is a vulnerable area. It's and then I didn't use it, so it's no finish, right?
Yeah.
I didn't finish. So now this woman comes to me, and let me explain something, a pattern that I've seen through my dreams. And somebody said something the other day, and I'm like, okay, I know this pattern. Whenever I need to be taught something, or Aaron, you're being lazy, or you're not talking to me enough, or you're not seeing what I'm showing you, he sends like an African lady
Really?
into my dream. Yeah. So the woman, when the fire is falling from heaven, and the woman standing on the balcony looking down at me, she was an African woman, and she was drinking coffee. And it's like, she's like, I don't know what you're talking about, but to me, there's just fire all around, and blue fire, and people are getting saved, and like,
Right.
not chaos, right? Because
Right.
he's not a god of confusion, but chaos. To us, it's chaos, but to him, it's all controlled. And so, these fires are falling from the sky, and this building's really on fire, and this building is on fire with a blue flame, and so on and so forth. To me, and I'm just like, wow, And she's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, don't you see what's going on?
Yeah.
She's like, I don't know what you're talking about, drinking her cup of coffee. And I didn't understand that. I thought it was somebody in my life. But what he's saying is, you're not seeing what I'm doing. You're at that moment, you're not seeing what I'm showing you.
Yeah.
Right. I needed to put these things together and do certain things to
Like there might be a deeper layer.
there's a deeper layer.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing it yet. And that was represented by this lady. Then this lady was also an African woman when she said you're a spy. So imagine like, okay, I wrote it down. She says you're, where is it? It's like, I'm not polished.
Mm-hmm.
I'm unfinished.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, you know how I am, like, just call me Aaron. Like, I don't need all these, I don't need a title, but yeah, God is showing you, like, this is who you are with me, right? I'm not embracing the label, right? And somebody else is assigning it to me,
Right.
right? So that woman is assigning this label to me. And like, I'm not recognizing it. I'm not saying yes. So internally, I struggle with this. I don't, there has been so many things that we've talked about that really haven't shown fruit yet, right? But now, from the dream before, where these things are starting to,
Yeah, it feels like this week it's been like domino, and it's been not to be too like cliche, but it seems like that flow of just stuff happening really kind of coincides with the flow of all the cars on the freeway. Like it's just all at once, and there's so many things happening. But keep going.
Right.
Sorry.
And that's the thing. It's like I'm showing you more, and you are like, I struggle. I struggle with this because yeah, there's these things, and I've taken them and put them together, and I've find the piece of puzzle we talk about, but yet I have to be patient with God, and in that patience, I struggle with it. I don't know enough of the Bible. Is this really God speaking? Is this the enemy trying to trick me? Is he coming to me as an angel of light? And I don't want. I'm resisting the title because I'm humble.
Yeah.
It's not that. It's not a good thing. It's just I am trying my hardest to be as humble as I can, because I believe that this is heavy and it's weighty, and it is something not to be taken lightly. Where
100%.
Again, we don't prophesy from the flesh because we need to perform. I will, you know what I mean? I am doing really looking at the examples I see in mainstream church and not being that man.
Yeah. Mainstream,
and,
what's it called? Oh my gosh. Not evangelical. What's the word?
Charismata.
The mainstream charisma. There's plenty of examples of what not to do.
What not to do, right?
Yeah.
And so for me, I take those in and like, okay, when I see somebody who's not doing right, who's from the flesh, you feel it. It's like, I said that before.
It's like I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah. It's like nails on a chalkboard. And so I take the lessons from that and I try to be as humble as possible. I'm just going to say it where God shows me to say it. I don't need to be the loudest.
For sure.
Because I'm trying. But on the other hand, like I do need to embrace it.
For sure.
Is what he's saying. Like embrace it. But I know that, it's not, this is who I am now. I'm not going to walk in and say I'm the prophet of the church.
The prophet has arrived.
Yeah.
So the confusion and walking away part, where it's like, why would you say that, right? One of the notes I had written down was, what does that part of the dream at the end actually mean or reveal? Is there, this is kind of putting you on the spot, is there hesitation to receive that affirmation, fear of misinterpretation, or a call to greater boldness? Could any of those three be indicative of that whole conversation we had, where you want to be humble, you don't want to necessarily be too quick to pick up and put on and walk around with the title? But are any of those three, hesitation to receive affirmation, fear of misrepresentation, right, or a call to greater boldness?
So I know who I am. I do. Even though I struggle, everybody struggles with their faith, right? And this is way more heavier than just saying I'm going to believe, right? But it's humility and caution rather than immediately adopting an identity because somebody assigned it to you.
Like too much gusto. Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand.
That's good. So
like my vocabulary there?
Yeah, that was good. You are very articulate.
I've been trying, we're whipping it out today.
So yeah, I see the mistakes that people are making, and it makes me nervous but I have examples of times where he said, don't do it. And I didn't. So I feel better about it, but still like pushing away what these people say you're supposed to be. This is how you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be, we're going to call you this, which is fine. Like people want to call me that, prophet, whatever it is, that's fine. But I remember I had a conversation with Cecilia one day and I said, if you didn't know anything about me and I told you all this stuff, what would you think? Would you think I'm crazy? Or would you really believe that maybe I'm a prophet? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she's like, I'd probably think you were crazy. Well,
it's an honest answer.
It's an honest answer.
With no context. Yeah.
Same thing with you. You saw that show with me saying something that I sent to Sherman 3 weeks ago and then it happening. That's where you were like, that's how I saw it when I saw Kim Clement speaking about something. It wasn't Kim Clement. It wasn't me. Yeah. It was the power of God working through a person. And they're like, this is real. So I
didn't even know what to expect going into the first episode. Yeah. To be completely candid.
That's true.
To be completely candid, I was like, sure. I'll do this with you. I have no idea what to expect. But like in my mind and in my heart, I was like, if things are weird, I'm out.
But that's good.
That's how it should be.
Right?
Yeah. And things were not weird. Things were actually surprisingly to where now I'm seeing it and I'm in it and I'm like, this is insane.
To actually live it is different than I'm listening to these people online every day or listening to what they have to say. That caution, yes, it is very difficult to just speak what God tells you because people want to smash you down. No, I'm the man of God. How dare you? And again, that is causes caution. People have told me that before, and I shrank back but God said, "See, this is what's going to happen, but just don't worry about it. I put my words in your mouth. Don't be afraid of them."
Yeah.
You have to crucify the flesh in that way is very different from saying, I'm going to stop drinking. I'm going to stop fornicating. Okay, well, those things already came, right? Deliverance came for that, and I stopped doing those things. Now you're going to have to crucify your flesh to obey God instead of always being the proper Christian.
Could you, let me pose a scenario. Could you actually be protecting what you have relationship-wise with God by being cautious?
Well,
and then let me run it down the line, because God can give a gift, He can take it away.
He could stop, yeah.
And arguably, some of these people who, as you said, not everybody goes into being prophetic with intentions of ending up on the news as some of these other charismatic churches and, farming information and misleading people. At some point along the way, I have to believe that God either stopped revealing Himself
100%.
to them. And so by you being cautious, you understand the value of the relationship that you've built, and you're not going to put that on the chopping block for anything. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. So I believe, like the Bible says, He gives gifts without repentance. He doesn't, but it doesn't mean He doesn't stop talking to people.
Right.
Because when like we had talked about this before, it just became normal to them.
Yeah.
And then they walked ahead of God instead of letting Him lead them. When the Israelites saw the, pillar of fire at night and the cloud during the day and bread falling from heaven to feed them and their shoes never wearing out and their clothes not tearing, it just became normal.
Yeah.
And the fear of God went away. Where's the meat?
Yeah.
It's like,
it'd be really nice if we had this.
Yeah.
Really not. And it's like what complacency.
Why couldn't you just pray like, Lord, thank you for everything you give us, but can we have some meat as well? Can we get some hot sauce maybe? Like whatever it is. No.
I need my Frank's Red Hot,
They're all complaining. Yeah. I'm tired of this manna.
I get
right?
it.
And so that caution to me is fear of God. This is the fear of walking ahead of Him, going too far.
And a healthy fear, not a...
Yeah, it's not fear. I'm not afraid because that's of the enemy. It's being cautious to not overstep my bounds with Him.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's really, really what that says.
Has there been a time then during this dreaming, during because this has happened since 2020, 2021, loosely around those dates, right?
Yeah.
Has there been a time where God has been less revealing, meaning dreams have not been as frequent versus times when they have been more frequent in these last 5-6 years? So let me
say this. I don't know how long it was ago, but I had got up. It must have, I don't know, 5-6 months ago. I got up. I went into my prayer closet to pray, and I'm praying for the same Japan, Afghanistan, the people of God, right? And the people of God in Japan, I know that He's doing things for a reason, and it's for the enemy.
Yeah.
But it's going to be hard on everybody, right? An earthquake comes to shake the enemy, but yet God's people shake too. The rain falls on the just and the unjust.
Right.
So I'm praying for His people, and I'm praying for the things that He's shown me already. And I felt this overwhelming sense of peace. I mean, you talked about it the other day, that sense, right?
Yeah.
I felt that it was almost like He put His hand on me and I instantly felt anything but peace. And it was just beautiful. And He said, Aaron, I've already answered all those prayers. Okay, what do you say to me? So let's stop putting the religious mindset on and just what next, right?
Yeah.
So then things have been slowing down, but they're more intense.
Right.
So I saw this in Japan. Okay, first was this, and these baby steps. Tons of dreams, but easier to interpret, right? Except for some of them you had to wait for the actual situation to play out.
Yeah.
But when I needed to fix something, hey, stop arguing with this person, or, this is wrong, whatever it is, easy to kind of go along. There's so many dreams that, like, we don't talk about everything, but we talk about the big things. Now they're a little few and far in between, but very heavy. The Spain, the, all these other things. And so it's like, I need you to take more time to meditate on these things. And again, I don't want to be complacent. I don't want to run ahead of him. But on the other hand, I don't want it to be just normal where I don't talk to him enough. It happens where sometimes I go to get out of bed and it's like 100 pounds of weight is on me.
Yeah.
And I just can't do it.
There've been times too where I've been like, I see, because obviously I'm watching the financial market constantly. So I get a bajillion headlines a day about something that's going on, right? And especially in the news cycle that we're in now, every other day is like we're either at war or we're not at war, right?
Right.
There have been times where I've been like, ooh, I wonder if Aaron's had a dream about this. But then based on our conversations, I'm like, well, if he's had a dream about it, he'll tell me. I don't need to go then and be like, oh, did you have a dream about this? Did you have a dream about this? Did you have a dream about, like, because that's not me doing my part either.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So, but that's probably a good segue into some of the stuff that's going on around the world. And I know two of the key things that you and I have been talking about recently, as well as Kelly and Cecilia, is everything that's happening in Spain, relevant to some of the dreams that you had, like the birthday party, the crates, the shipping dock, the dry dock, which was just a couple episodes ago that we covered. I know the dreams were previous. Yeah, 13.
Yeah, it was episode 13.
And also, more recently, the Muslim army marching on New York.
Yeah.
And surrounding New York. And you were seeing the armies of different nations, if I recall correctly, coming from different directions, north, south, east, and west. And so that seems to be quite intense. And I'll let you kind of do the connecting pieces, but I'm like, there's obviously a correlation here,
So let me read it, and then we can talk about it.
Yeah, go for it.
The first Spanish dream was 6 December 2024.
Okay.
I was in Spain. My wife and her brother, who I knew worked in the Spanish royal family's house, we were standing outside of the castle, right? And we were standing on a seawall, and we were looking out at the ocean. And we were standing, and then all three of us stepped onto this empty semi-trailer.
Mm-hmm.
And as we were looking out of the beach or something, and then I stepped back onto the seawall, and the trailer, there wasn't a truck, it was just a trailer, slammed into the wall that was right there. And they were stuck inside of it. A man come out of the house, and I knew he was like the guy in charge of the house. He wasn't the royal person, but he was in charge. He was like the butler.
Head of the staff. Or
head of everybody else, but not higher than the people that live there.
Right.
But he was English. And I said, hey, can you help me? And he said, no, I can't help you. I'm sorry, you're stuck. And he was an English man. Then a Spanish lady came out, and she said, I'll help you. So the English man said, no, sorry, there's nothing I can do for you. And I'm freaking out. I'm like, aren't you in charge around here? And he just kept walking. Then the Spanish lady came out and said, we can help you. So with this dream, let me read the other one, and then we'll put it together.
Yeah, please do.
So that was 6 December. On the other show, I actually mixed up the dates. So this was 15 November. I was at a birthday party for a 7-year-old child. I knew that I was in Spain. The mother and the grandmother were running around getting things ready for this party. It was wintertime, but they wanted the AC to work. I'm looking out the window from their apartment as there was public executions happening that I could see right from where they lived. These two men were dropped down inside of an empty dry dock, but they were in a wood crate.
Right.
And they were hanging above this dry dock, and they dropped it. And they fell down inside the dry dock, and the crate smashed open. If they lived and they try to get out, the crowd around the dry dock who was watching this would beat them to death. The second one I was watching, and they had many more people, and they were actually putting the crate into the dry dock. Now it was full of water. So I was like floating in the water like this, watching them lower these crates down. And they were breaking out of the crates to get out. But one of the crates was shaped like a coffin, kind of like that. And the door opened to the coffin, and there was a man inside, and his arms were out like this, and his feet were like this, like he was crucified.
Like he was on a cross.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I'm watching from under the water. There was one more execution, about 9 or 10 people. The wood crates were lowered into dry dock, and that was full of water. This time I was watching it from under the water. I could see the boxes lowered. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is such a horrible way to die. But they all escaped from the boxes as they got in there. One was in the shape of it says triangle, but it's more of a coffin shape. The man inside, his arms were stretched out, legs were together like he was crucified. And the brother, then I'm back in the room, and the brother of the uncle of the boy was listening to the executions on the radio. We were in a room, like a hotel room. He was listening to the thing, and he gave me a radio, but mine was in English. His was in Spanish. I could listen to it in English, and I asked him a question, and he got irritated, but he didn't I think he got mad and said something back to me, but it was very, like he used curse words, and I knew that he just didn't understand how to speak English properly. That's
right.
Just the way he learned. And so I got up, and I'm like, you're not going to speak to him that. You're not going to talk to me that way. So I showed him the proper way to say what he said. And he wanted to say, and then I looked out the window, and the room was below ground, and there was a cobblestone street right outside the window. So you could see people's feet and I don't know.
They're just walking by.
Yeah, they're just walking by. Old stone roads. So now we see what's happening today. Let me pull this up. So
we got a bunch of news with Spain this week.
Lots, actually.
Not just World Cup news.
Okay. That's just World Cup news. So the first article is Spain's embattled prime minister, this corruption. So what happened was his wife his wife was sentenced to jail for embezzlement and bribery.
The prime minister of Spain.
His wife, yeah. And corruption charges were brought against the wife and his brother. Now the jailing of his former right-hand man for embezzlement and bribery leaves him more compromised. So also, Spain's transportation minister was handed a 24-year sentence for rigging public contracts for face masks and other medical supplies during COVID.
Wow.
So basically, the transportation minister. So
there seem to be multiple corruption charges. I think she's currently not allowed to leave Spain.
Yeah, I don't think she's been convicted yet, but she's still under review, you could say.
Yeah.
Or she's going to court or whatever it is. But his wife, his brother, and then I don't know if his brother was the transportation minister. I didn't see that.
Yeah.
So then yesterday or the day before, the president came out and said that he's cutting off trade with Spain.
Yeah, to leverage them for NATO.
Because of the corruption.
Yeah.
So in
that whole organization, I don't know if it's like their socialist party or whatever it's called.
Yeah, they're socialists.
But they're in that entire cabinet is just, there's more and more corruption that's being uncovered.
So you have, looking out at the seawall, what comes from the ocean? Ships.
Yeah.
For cargo, shipment.
Yep.
Empty semi-trailer, right?
Yep.
Moving shipments, moving cargo.
Yep.
Wood crates. Yep. But somebody inside of the crate who is being executed for treason, corruption, whatever it is, right? Now they're dropping these crates into this dry dock where ships, cargo ships, whatever, it could be, Spanish Navy, whatever, but ships are put in, to be worked on. So there's all these little signs, right? Shipping, transportation, cargo, and people, who've been convicted of this crime, whatever it is, are now being executed, however it is.
Yeah.
Right. So you have all these things in these two dreams where everything points to, shipping. Now in the dream, I was at a birthday party for a 7-year-old.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know what that means. To me, I see like maybe it's because it's 7 years. My wife's saying it's the number of completion.
Yeah.
Maybe that's, it's like the number of completion. Now Spain is about to be delivered. We've seen Iran. Now Spain is about to be delivered from corruption. And it's just, these are not like don't take my words and like, well, this is how I'm going to, now I need to live under this, whatever it is.
Right.
It's signs. These are God-giving signs to wake up his people.
I agree.
He's showing an accurate prophetic warning or telling of the future to get people to wake up and see that God is real. God is actually moving. To stop being afraid or to actually take time with him, to walk with him. It has nothing to do with, I'm just the person who saw it. But what it is like, now walk with me. He's trying to call people many different ways. Some people, like myself, I felt like he kicked me when I was sitting at the top of the stairs and said, wake up. But I did,
Yeah.
I have been awake this whole time, and I'm seeing things play out, and it's like, I'm telling people and they're like, oh yeah, that's amazing. God told me that. Like, stop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
we had somebody who texted Cecilia saying, hey, didn't Aaron have a dream about Spain?
Yeah.
Trump just did this.
Yeah, it's one of those
wild.
things,
Yeah.
right? That like people are waking up to see that God, how God moves, and that he does. And they're like, before I even said anything to anybody else, she texted because she saw the news and she watches our podcast. You know what I mean?
I know.
So, like now do we, I don't know. However God, he'll lead us to whatever it is. But the thing is, he's moving. It's amazing. So
it's just all corruption, man.
I'm amazed when I see these things.
It is.
I truly am.
Do you want to share the dream in New York, the refresher for the that, or just at least give context there too?
We can do that. I did save these. Okay, so that's your.
Yeah, it's all over New York Times, The Guardian, BBC, Politico. I mean, you don't have to go far to find out that this is actively happening.
Okay, so I had a dream that I saw. I was in an apartment building. Oh, I don't have this one out either. I was in an apartment building in New York. Me, and my wife, and my son. We were visiting some of Cecilia's family. We were in this apartment building, one of the boroughs. We weren't actually like in the city, and I was looking out the window, and I went downstairs, and I heard this man, and he was so annoying. Like, the way he talked, it just annoyed me. Like I saw somebody that I knew or something like that, but that man was there, and he was annoying me. Let me bring up the actual dream and explain it. And I think you have the picture.
Yes, I do. And it was from season 4, episode 3. You were with your wife's family in New York City, staying on the 5th floor of an apartment overlooking the city. A friend of a downstairs neighbor was loud and obnoxious in a way that irritated you.
Yeah.
On a walk, you saw foreign soldiers taking posts and marching in pairs and groups. From the east, a Muslim country. From the west, South America and Latin American troops, and others coming from the north and south. Aaron also knew that the UN was behind the soldiers, or you had that knowledge that the UN was there.
The UN had something to do with it.
Yep, and then somebody tried to sell you a gun for an obnoxious price. You refused. You left the apartment again, and 3 men noticed that you had an expensive watch on, and then you pushed them back when they approached you, and you punched one of them in your dream.
Pretty much. Yeah, that's pretty much
so that's the synopsis. I grabbed it from the website.
Okay, so with that, right? So in the dream, and that picture that we made, or that I made, the AI picture is really pretty much what I saw. It's amazing. Like how I just put the dream in, and it, like, draw me a picture of this, and it's like, whoa. But I had this one. I had to fix
awesome.
a couple times, but basically, yeah, you saw the Muslim. I knew they were Muslims because they were carrying Muslim banners, flags,
Like the Islamic flag.
Islamic flag, and like it kind of reminded me, like it could have been Saudi Arabia or Yemen or something. I don't know, but I just knew that it had Arabic writing on it, and I knew that these were Muslims. And then the other one was from South America, and I saw the uniforms,
Right.
and it reminded me of like Colombia or Venezuela or some other country. But South American. It was the pattern of the camouflage that I'm like, yep, that's South American. So we saw this article that a man, and I don't know, I can't remember what his name was, but basically he is a podcaster, or he does a lot of like YouTube or TikTok or whatever. Very annoying. Very
Wait, you're saying people on social media are annoying?
Yeah, no.
What are we then? I'm just kidding.
So this man was it was a whole crowd of people marching down the streets in New York City, and you could see them waving the big banners, the flags of these Muslim countries, and he was saying, we're taking over, we're invading, we're now going to call it what do you say, New Yorkistan, and it's not, we're not going to be done till every single house in New York City is Muslim, because this is the Mendami's New York. So with that dream, let me see this real quick. With that dream, in my dream, I saw a very annoying man just annoying me when he was talking. Like everything he said was like, oh, this is horrible. The second part, those 3 men tried to rob me, and my watch fell off in the subway, and I was punching the one man. It really wasn't connecting, but they were afraid.
Right.
And I knew that Mendami, he was sworn in a subway station.
Really?
Yeah. So if you look it up, when he did his swearing in ceremony, it was inside of a subway station.
Let me look at this. Yeah. Keep going.
So again, these are, like, when I saw that man marching, I knew instantly, like, this is what he was showing me. It wasn't an army invading America. It was an army, like, the enemy is within the country. They're not invading the country from the outside. They're actually invading the country from within.
Well, tens of thousands of New Yorkers will be in Times Square for the countdown to 2026. The city's mayor-elect, Zohran Mamdani, says he will be sworn into office in an underground midnight private ceremony at an abandoned subway station built during the Gilded Age.
Yeah.
Beneath City Hall. And that's from The Guardian.
Yeah. It's great.
Crazy.
That's crazy.
Crazy. Yeah.
So all these things are like falling into pieces. And again, like, God is telling people, wake up.
Right.
You're seeing what's happening. Wake up. Okay? If somebody says we're going to take over your country, believe them. Not just like, well, those are the crazies. Most of these people are just peace-loving. No.
Yeah.
It's happening all over the country. As a matter of fact, I want to share another dream that we've talked about. I was dreaming I was hovering above the United States. Angels were next to me as I'm hovering above like 38,000 feet, like an airplane. And I'm just looking down at the country, and I see lights, but there's chains, big, humongous chains on these cities. And I saw Las Vegas, Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, the whole state of Michigan, somewhere in Texas. And they had these just huge chains, and they were, it looked infected. It looked like an infected wound, like you cut yourself and you don't really clean it. It just kind of hurts and it's puffy. That's what it looked like. And the angels were pointing at cities, and they'd point at this city and the chains broke, and it was like the city went like it could breathe again.
Yeah.
This is what we're seeing. This is what is happening in our country. Like I said, when they say wake up, when they say we're going to take over, they really mean it. You know, they're not lying. And this Las Vegas, Chicago, New York City, Los Angeles, all of Michigan, Texas, we're seeing Michigan, New York City. I don't know about Las Vegas. Chicago is, you know, in a horrible state right now because of the leadership. People are just being shot at. You know, this is so much to it. You have Obama building his satanic temple and calling it a library. The point is,
you do it. We should do an episode about that. That was season 4, episode 8, the dream about the chains. By the way,
but okay,
and it's on the side as well. So yeah.
So we're seeing how the enemy is trying to, right? New York City, right? What's the point of New York City? Why does the enemy so want New York City? That is the financial hub of America.
Right.
Wall Street. You have Wall Street. Then you have Los Angeles, which is the media hub. What have we been seeing in the last 5 years? How the media just lied to us about everything, right? Those are chains that they put over the city. You have Michigan. This is where it all started. You know, you see these now cities where they pushed out anybody who wasn't Muslim, and we don't want you here. You know, and it's just over and over. Texas is becoming a big. You know, there's many of these cities in Texas, New Jersey, you know, like all of Michigan. I'm just amazed how people are not waking up to, you know, the enemy. And I don't want to say enemy as a person. I'm saying the spiritual warfare that's happening. And people are so like, well, as long as it doesn't affect me.
Yeah, as long as I'm comfortable and my family and my house is taken care of and nothing's directly impacting my quality of life.
He doesn't give you, there's no, like if he said put on the full armor of God, you don't put on full armor to go out to the field and pick corn. You go out, it's for battle, you know, and these spiritual battles are being lost because people have, well, we got Trump elected. We're good now. Instead of praying.
Yeah, I could go to sleep for 4 years. I'll pray on the next election.
Instead of praying over the rest of the country and saying, Lord, protect your people. Protect, you know, what's happening here.
The email I just got.
Trump. That's funny.
Sorry, but, keep going.
We're seeing it. And I believe the dream we talked about with the war-torn, where it looked like war-torn Europe after, I think that's the end game.
Yeah.
I really believe that it's after the spiritual battle has won. It'll be like, I don't want to say actual like war-torn Europe where everything's exploded, but it's like, okay, it's done.
Yeah.
And now we have to rebuild, you know. The women dressed in 1800 Victorian clothes, the all the documents that have been hidden.
Yep.
Once these things are found, now the war is over. You know, whatever it is, and they're brought to the light, and they're old. You know, they're an old system, an old way of living, an old way of doing things that people just accept as normal.
Yeah,
that's just the way it is. You know, I in the beginning when I was talking about these things, and people would say, well, you know, nothing's ever going to happen to these people. And that's just giving up. You're just now on the side of, well, I'm giving up.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter if the spiritual battle needs to be fought now. I'm just going to say, well, nothing ever happens to people. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
You know, and that's the mindset. That's a big part of the mindset of, you know, being in the army, I understand, like, okay, there's a war has many battles in it. And you don't just like, well, you know, we're never going to beat these people. I'm just going to give up. You know, if we thought that in World War II, we'd all be watching movies with German subtitles or Japanese subtitles,
They made full-on TV shows as if that happened.
the high man in the high tower.
High castle or tower,
It's
yeah.
so true.
Yeah.
And you see how the West Coast treated those people horrible.
Yeah.
Right? That's what New York City is going to look like.
Yeah.
And then you have
crazy.
the East Coast where they all just accepted it.
Yeah.
They all just accepted socialism and Naziology. I remember that guy comes out of his house and he's like, "Hey, Bob, Ozzy, hi, oh, Pete." They just accepted it.
Yeah, like it's an integrated part of their culture.
Nothing you're going to do now.
So
nothing I can do
dangerous,
about
yeah.
it. They're nobody's ever going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
And it's like that. You're seeing it. It's like, gosh, open your eyes. The battle.
And we just had the 4th of July, the 250th anniversary of the country. We truly do live in the best nation in the world. We have so much freedom. I do believe that there is, there's a constant threat to that. But a lot of the stuff, as you were saying, that goes on conflict-wise, there's stuff that happens in the world. But then there's so many things that happen in a world that we can't see spiritually. And so you're right. Armor up and pray, and we always have to be vigilant. Not fearful, but vigilant.
Not fearful. Just, it's your job as a we say prayer warrior to get up and pray over the nation and the leadership and the people in these places that are being pushed out of their homes. I saw this. I was watching this. I was watching this thing, and this lady was talking about a city council meeting. She's reading off the demands that the Muslim community wants, and it's like, you need to now start teaching the children that Muslims had influence in this building of this country, and this is Muslim architecture, and this is this, and you can't talk about this anymore, and you can't talk about this.
Yeah.
And it's like the entitlement.
I know, but the problem is like, I'm not giving them credit, but like that group of people are extremely persistent.
Yeah.
And sometimes we as Christians just sit back on our laurels and go, it'll all work itself out.
Yeah.
While this stuff literally happens. I mean, look at the Twitter article I sent you today. Some state or some city in Alabama just got city approval to be called New Africa in Little Rock, Arkansas, a full Sharia law community. So buyers are forced to sign an Islamic bill of assurance pledging to follow the Quran guidelines enforced by the mosque-run HOA. As if HOAs weren't bad enough, but I digress. But it's happening. It's happening all over,
Yeah.
So
and not enough people are waking up. These things that we're talking about, the Spain, those things happening, is 100% for God's people to open their eyes and wake up.
And just pray.
Right? He's saying, wake up. I have something to show you.
Yeah.
And now, it doesn't mean like, it's going to be a war. I had this vision. Oh my goodness. It was amazing, actually. I was behind a mound of dirt and I was praying. I was holding a rifle and I was praying. And I was like, God, let my aim be true, like let my target find it.
Let me hit the target.
Let my ammo find their target. And it was like, okay. And I turn around and I'm shooting. And it was like a Mosin Nagant bolt action rifle. It wasn't like
an old Russian rifle.
Yeah, it was an old Russian rifle. And it was like, I saw me doing that, praying, like, okay, let it, and I get up on the hill and like, bam. And it wasn't like, I wasn't seeing the future of like battle and war. What I'm seeing is like that spiritual warfare. You have to pray, like, what do I pray about, Lord? Oh, you want me to pray for the people of New York? Roger that. So I'm going to pray for his people in New York. I'm going to pray that the enemy is cast out and pushed aside. Yeah. And that's exactly the vision, like, this is the vision I'm showing you. I want you to pray this way, and I want you to pull these weapons out. And so, it's
crazy.
I just hope people wake up before they're now stuck.
Yeah.
And it's already gone too far. And we're talking about Iran not that long ago, and they're going through deliverance because the darkness is so ingrained in their culture. Mm-hmm. Those roots have taken, now you got to dig out everything instead of when it was just a small tree. Yeah. You pull it out and the roots came with it. Now it's a big oak and you got to dig that thing out of
Yeah.
there. It's the same thing.
It's great. Well, I think that's a good spot to wrap. Do you want to pray us out?
Sure.
Perfect.
Okay. Lord, thank you for what you're doing with your people, Lord. I pray that people's eyes are open and they wake up and they know what to pray and what to pray for and how long and whatever you require of us, Lord. Just pour out on your people and let them know exactly where to aim. Lord, and we just pray that the enemy of darkness, the soldiers of darkness are pushed back and cast out of this nation, Lord. And send them to the pit. Don't send them in, don't let them go anywhere else. Just send them right to the pit, Lord. And I pray that a peace will fall upon your people and they'll know exactly what it is to do. And we just give you thanks and praise for all that you're doing, Lord. And become the loudest voice in praise. And let us praise you. We praise you with a full heart. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Care if I plug the website real quick?
No, I think it's fantastic.
So there's a bunch of stuff that we've obviously shared with Aaron's Dreams just here in season 4. We put all of it into a archive online. So thisweekinprophecy.net, make sure you spell all those words correctly. If you go onto the home page, there is a big button that says Browse the Dream Archive. You can search anything. You can search New York and see the exact episodes, the context, and what is happening, and updates as they occur to each one of these dreams in real time as we update them. So this episode will obviously be up there by the time this is released, and use that at your discretion to not only keep everybody accountable, but there's nothing but transparency here, right?
Sure.
So, a lot of work went into that, so please use it.
It's fantastic. I think it's great.
I used it during the episode.
Yeah,
it's
you can
great.
go in and I remember you talk about this. Type it in, and it will just here's the dreams, whatever keyword it is.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to say one more thing. I did see also a vision of younger people. I think all these things that are happening are for the next generation that's coming up. I saw a bunch of younger people stand on the street preaching gospel, getting people,
I love that.
And they all were wearing white shirts, but they were long like this, and they were that neoprene, I think it is. I don't know
like the
called.
athletic,
the real
sleek,
the cooling shirts.
Yeah.
But they were all wearing white shirts, and there was something on them. I couldn't read it, and this is what they were doing. And when it was all 17 to 25. That was the age range I saw in there.
Yeah.
But all these things that we're doing today, what we're going to do tomorrow, what we've already done with trying to get people up, is for the next generation.
For sure.
It's always going to be for the next generation. So.
Beauty of this is you put it on the internet, it's there forever.
Forever. 100%.
So. Cool.
Let's go eat some sushi.